Hi everyone, this is a game changer tip for all of you who are trying to train a medium to large size dog to walk on a loose leash at your side. Oftentimes we get hung up with reinforcing where the dog should be and not thinking about the dog's gait. So if you have a puppy that's going to be a medium or large sized dog and they're going to at least double in size, what's going to happen is their legs are going to be double as long, unless you have a very short dog, like I have a little Shih Tzu mix who his legs, like they grew, they were this short and then they grew this big. So his the amount of ground he covered when walking at a specific gait, it didn't change much. But if your dog's legs are going to be like a puppy and then an adult, they're going to travel twice as fast because they're going to cover more ground. So if you're reinforcing your dog for staying at your side, yes, they're learning to stay at your side, but most puppies will comfortably trot at your side when we're walking a normal pace that a human might walk. If you're walking extremely slow, your puppy's probably going to be also walking with you. Now, if you continually reinforce your puppy for trotting at your side and you notice that around the house the puppy trots to different locations, the puppy's never practicing or rehearsing walking. Some breeds don't particularly like to walk. For example, sighthounds and whippets, they might be trotting to every destination that they're going to go to and not specifically walking. So when their legs double in size and then suddenly you, for the dog, have started to walk twice as slow for them, they're going to get very confused and frustrated that they're suddenly having to walk twice as slow. So for us, it seems like they are walking twice as fast and wanting to pull, but in truth, we are the ones that are slowing them down because they don't know that they've doubled in size. So that's a really important tip. So if you have a young puppy, what you have to do is practice walking extremely slow, and it can be extremely boring because puppies want to walk fast, we want to walk fast, and so us walking slow is actually great practice for us to understand what it's like when the little puppy is an adolescent and they're having that joy of exploration of the environment, that they have to walk half as slow as they want to. So us practicing, when you have a little puppy, you're going to be reinforcing them for going at a slow walking pace as well as a trot. So another thing to keep in mind is you might want to film yourself walking with your puppy or adult dog and see that you're reinforcing the puppy for staying at the same gait. So they're going to be walking and not walking and trotting, walking and trotting, walking and trotting. And when they're trotting. So you can practice walking when your dog's walking, super slow, and then walking faster where your dog's trotting. And if you have an adult dog, you can practice this too. So what I suggest, if your dog is walking at your side and you're in a busy environment, that you're going to have your dog just walking at your side if you have a large dog. Because if they were to trot, they're going to hit the end of the leash in like a second. So this is really going to help with those dogs that they understand the concept of walking at your side, but they see something they want to sniff, and what they're going to do is go as fast as they can to that area. But if you've taught them to just walk everywhere, and you can even proof it in training games where you set up something that you're going to reach, maybe it's the other end of the road or a bush or a bowl of treats, and you practice walking there with your dog at your side, and they walk at a walk and don't trot. And then you release them to whatever it is. You can practice this technique, and then when your dog wants to get somewhere, they're going to walk to that distraction rather than suddenly run, which can end with them hitting the end of the leash because they're not thinking about how close they are to you. So that's a really wonderful tip, and it makes it so easy, especially for service dogs. So my boy Bliss, ever since he was a little puppy, I rarely walked at a trot with him. I did lots of training and off leash where he's trotting around, but when I walked him on a leash, I walked half as slow as I wanted to, and by the time he was 6 months old, he was walking perfectly at my side, just walking and not ever thinking to go into a trot. Because if he did go into a trot, I would be jogging. So we do practice that, and it has a different name specifically for jogging. So that's the tip. If you have a small breed dog, like a Chihuahua or a dog like that, it really is super easy to teach them to walk on a loose leash in comparison, because they're not going to change sizes. A good thing to keep in mind is that they are going at a beautiful, nice trot, or walking where you walk super slow so they can sniff around. But make sure that you're going a nice speed for them, so you can film your dog and see if they're going at a nice gait. And also with large breed dogs, if you walk quite fast and you have a husky and they're trotting, make sure that you're going the correct speed, because what can happen is sometimes the dog can start walking like a camel. Usually a dog will move their left front foot and their back right foot forward as they trot, and when they're walking like a camel, they'll walk with the left foot and the left back foot. So keep in mind that the dog isn't doing that. And it's great to, if the dog is doing that, just get the dog checked out by a vet to make sure that there isn't something going on with their hips or something else going on in their body, if you keep trying to change speeds and the dog is not having success with trotting normally. Most of you might already have an adult medium to large sized dog that's having a pulling issue, and what I suggest is to practice slow walking in your house, where you walk really slow, mark and reinforce, practice in your yard, go out to the street and practice walking slow, reinforcing your dog at your side, and then release them to sniff things that are within reach. So you can say, okay, go sniff, and then they can sniff bushes and pee on them. And then if the dog does go to pull, keep the leash short enough that the dog's step into the trot ends with the leash pressure, so that the leash is short enough that the dog can't just take off running and then hit the end of the leash. That's not only going to be more comfortable when the dog hits the end of the leash, but it's going to teach the dog that as soon as they start getting fast, they can't get where they want. And you can work on leash pressure as a cue, and I'll link a video in the description below on how to teach your dog that when they feel the leash pressure, it's simply a cue to turn back to you and find the area where the leash is loose. That's going to be extremely helpful, along with this tip of teaching the dog what speed to go when walking with you, that when they do hit the end of the leash, they know, oh, I'm supposed to back up or reorient to the handler. What usually happens is people will have a 5-foot long leash, the dog's walking at the side, and then you see them start to speed up slowly and get out in front of their owner, hit the end of the leash, come back, speed up slowly, and what the owner's looking at is the loose leash, and so they're not thinking about the fact that the dog is speeding up. So instead of letting the dog rehearse speeding up for a few seconds and then hitting the end of the leash and then having to come back, that moment that you see them speed up, you don't even have to shorten the leash. You can make a kissy noise or simply stop, so the dog has to stop at your side. But by keeping the leash short when practicing this, if the dog ignores you and they keep going, they're not going to hit the end of the leash out in front of you. They're going to hit it right at your side. And some dogs, once they've had this training, you don't even have to, they just feel a slight pressure that they're at the end of the leash and they come back. And of course you can do what I previously mentioned as well, which is set up training games where you put out a distraction and you practice walking towards it with your dog at a walk instead of a trot if you have a large breed dog. I hope this tip was helpful for your training. Don't forget to leave me a comment, because it's highly reinforcing for me and it will mean more people will find this tip. And you can also subscribe to this channel for more free dog training videos that show you how you can train your dog without the use of physical or psychological intimidation. See you later.